The Korean Peninsula remains one of the most enduring symbols of division and conflict in the modern world. The stark contrast between North Korea and South Korea, two nations sharing a history, culture, and geography but divided by ideology, governance, and military strength, reflects decades of Cold War rivalries, political turmoil, and shifting global dynamics. The rivalry between these two countries is a complicated interplay of military power, political will, economic disparity, and international alliances. Examining the power breakdown between North Korea and South Korea means delving into their histories, military capabilities, strategic doctrines, and the broader geopolitical forces that keep the peninsula in a precarious balance. The origins of this division trace back to the end of World War II, when Korea was liberated from Japanese colonial rule in 1945. The peninsula was split along the 38th parallel, with the Soviet Union occupying the north and the United States occupying the south. This division was meant to be temporary but soon hardened into two separate states, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, in the north, led by Kim Il-sung, and the Republic of Korea, ROK, in the south, initially led by Syngman Rhee. Both claimed to be the legitimate government of all Korea, setting the stage for conflict. This tension exploded into war in 1950 when North Korea invaded the South, triggering the Korean War. The conflict ended in 1953 with an armistice but no formal peace treaty, leaving the peninsula divided and heavily militarized along the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ. Since then, the two Koreas have developed radically different political, economic, and military systems. North Korea is an authoritarian state with a centrally planned economy and a focus on military self-reliance, or Sun Gun policy, emphasizing the military's primacy in national affairs. South Korea, conversely, is a vibrant democracy with a market economy, global trade connections, and a powerful military alliance with the United States. This contrast fuels both the rivalry and the strategic calculus of the peninsula. From a military perspective, North Korea commands one of the largest standing armies in the world, with approximately 1.2 million active personnel and several million in reserves. Its military doctrine emphasizes asymmetric warfare, nuclear deterrence, and the ability to wage a rapid, surprise offensive against the South. The Korean People's Army, KPA, fields significant numbers of artillery, tanks, armored vehicles, and a vast array of missiles, including short-range ballistic missiles, SRBMs, medium-range missiles, and increasingly sophisticated intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. North Korea's nuclear weapons program, despite international sanctions and diplomatic efforts to curb it, has developed capabilities that pose direct threats to South Korea, Japan, and even the continental United States. The regime's willingness to use nuclear weapons as a deterrent or bargaining chip adds a dangerous dimension to the peninsula's security environment. South Korea's military, while smaller in manpower compared to the North, is among the most technologically advanced in the world. It benefits from a robust defense budget, modern equipment, and close cooperation with the United States under the US-ROK alliance. South Korea maintains a highly capable Navy, Air Force, and Army, equipped with advanced fighter jets, missile defense systems, submarines, and command and control infrastructure. Its military strategy focuses on defending against potential North Korean aggression, deterring nuclear use, and maintaining readiness for rapid response. The presence of approximately 28,500 U.S. troops stationed in South Korea as part of the Mutual Defense Treaty further bolsters deterrence. Despite their military disparities, the power balance is far from simple. North Korea's large conventional forces are positioned close to the border, with massive artillery capable of striking Seoul, a city of over 10 million people just 40 miles from the DMZ. This proximity, combined with underground facilities, tunnels, and hardened bunkers, poses a constant threat to the south. South Korea's reliance on high-tech systems and allied support counters this but leaves vulnerabilities, particularly to North Korea's asymmetric tactics such as cyber attacks, special forces incursions, and missile strikes. Economically, the divide is equally stark. South Korea is the world's 10th largest economy, a global leader in technology, manufacturing, and innovation. Its GDP is over $1.8 trillion, fueled by multinational corporations like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG. The South's economic strength underpins its military capabilities and international diplomatic weight. In contrast, North Korea's economy is isolated, heavily militarized, and crippled by sanctions, mismanagement, and resource scarcity. Estimates put its GDP at a fraction of South Korea's, with much of the population facing chronic poverty and food insecurity. The regime prioritizes military spending despite economic hardship, reinforcing the idea that military power is essential for survival. Diplomatic efforts to address the Korean conflict have waxed and waned over the decades, ranging from high tensions and crises to periods of dialogue and tentative agreements. The six-party talks involving North and South Korea, the US, China, Japan, and Russia, aimed at denuclearization and peace, have stalled repeatedly. Summits between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean presidents or US presidents have brought moments of hope but have so far failed to produce lasting breakthroughs. The fundamental issues, North Korea's nuclear ambitions, the US military presence in the South, and mutual distrust, remain unresolved. The geopolitical context of the Korean peninsula is shaped heavily by the interests of regional powers. China is North Korea's closest ally and economic lifeline, wary of instability that could lead to refugee flows or US military expansion near its borders. Russia maintains historic ties with Pyongyang but plays a more limited role. Japan views North Korea's missile and nuclear programs as direct threats, contributing to trilateral security cooperation with the US and South Korea. The United States remains the key security guarantor for South Korea, committed to deterring aggression and preventing nuclear proliferation. As the 21st century progresses, the Korean peninsula remains a potential flashpoint with complex power dynamics. North Korea's development of more sophisticated missile systems, cyber warfare capabilities, and nuclear weapons challenges the traditional military balance. South Korea's technological edge, coupled with US military support, aims to maintain deterrence but is not immune to risk. Economic disparities and political differences deepen the divide, even as some in South Korea advocate for engagement and reconciliation. In the end, the power breakdown between North and South Korea is a story of contradiction, massive military forces poised against each other, vastly different political systems, and a shared history fractured by decades of conflict. The peninsula's future depends on whether these powers can move beyond military confrontation to a sustainable peace, or whether the unresolved tensions will once again erupt into violence. The world watches closely, understanding that any conflict on the Korean peninsula would have devastating regional and global consequences.